Welcome back to another episode of Plant-Based Dads. I'm Joey. We are a mostly whole food vegan cooking channel. Sometimes there's some starch solution. A lot of times we've been, a lot of days now we're counting calories. If you like what you hear, please hit that like button, show us some love, and please don't forget to subscribe and become part of the Plant-Based Dads family. I want to do a quick shout out to our PayPal and Patreon members. Our financial supporters help us put the show together and get the plant-based message out to the public. If you've ever seen the show and thought about how can I help, how can I be part of this, that's how you can help. You can become a financial supporter. There's a link below for PayPal and Patreon. We can sure use your help. And starting this month, we will be having Patreon-only content. I'm not sure what it'll be yet, but I'm going to start putting content on Patreon that only Patreon members get. We'll have to probably figure it. I really don't want it to be like cuts from these videos or whatever. I'd rather it just be something kind of different, like I'm on my way to work and I'm talking about what's going on in my life or something like that, or some obstacles where, you know, encountering as a plant-based couple or as a family, or I don't know, something. But I want to start just putting content on Patreon, so join so you can get every bit of that once it starts coming out. We're also I've also set up a Cameo account. I don't even have anything up there yet, so if you do Cameo and all that, I want to start. I've done one of those for someone asked me to do it. I was like, why would anybody want me to wish them a happy birthday? But it was so much fun doing it, and they had a blast and we had a blast. So I think it's something I just want to offer out to the public. So keep an eye out for that. Look for me on Cameo, and hopefully we'll meet up there. My sister April, the Mediterranean Maiden, has her own Mediterranean channel where she does all that Mediterranean stuff. You know, her diet, you think of the Mediterranean diet as a high-fat diet because of the olive oil, but she can't have fat like that. Like, it just makes her, she has high triglycerides and all that, so she does a low-fat version, almost a McDougal version of the Mediterranean diet. It's not a vegan diet, but a lot of her food is vegetable-based. So check that out, April Matese-The Mediterranean Maiden. If you go over there and see any of her videos, tell her I said hello. It's a lot of fun, and sometimes we work with each other. If you're not already familiar with it, I do have another whole channel called Sophomore Swag. Sophomore Swag is all about my experiences as a teacher. Many of you know that I'm a teacher and that's what I do for a living. So check out Sophomore Swag. I share a lot more of my work day on that channel, you know, day in a life, classroom setup, that sort of thing. It is a lot of fun. All right, I know it's hard to tell on the camera, but I am at a new low weight, and I am really excited about it. I'm almost at the weight now where I was when I lost the 20 pounds in the starch solution originally. So, and I'm still doing the starch solution. I'm just counting my calories. I know people are like, you don't have to count calories, or if you're limiting your calories, you're not eating enough. Believe me, I'm eating enough food. It's a lot of food still because I'm a volume eater. But I'm still doing the starch solution, which is I'm starting with a starch and just bulking it up, right? Just giving it as much as I can with non-starchy vegetables to bring up the calories to a decent amount, 400 to 500 calories a meal. So I'm not really doing anything different outside of the starch solution other than I'm going, okay, you know, 400 calories in a meal or 450, that's enough for me. I don't need to eat any more than that. So I'm doing that. I'm making calorie counting combined with the starch solution working for me, and it's starting to have effects, and I feel amazing. So my energy level's back up, and I'm out like running again in the morning. Like, there's just so much more going on. And with the holiday season right here, like, this couldn't be better timing. All right, for today's recipe, I've got the AC off. It is a beautiful 70-something degrees here in Arizona. Tim is house sitting for one of our friends, Brenna. She has 2 big dogs and like 5 birds. And every time she goes on vacation or where she goes out of town, Tim goes and sits, he stays at her house, and it's a beautiful home, right? He stays at her home because the dogs, you know, have him there, and then I go twice a day and I take care of the birds because I'm a bird person. I love birds. So she has a bunch of conures and parrots and that sort of thing. So we hit that thing together, but Tim just stays there. This is the friend that we met Nini through. So he's not here today, but it is soup season. The weather's changed, and I'm going to start with one of my favorites. And one of the reasons it's my favorite is because it's an Instapot. This is my easy Instapot brown lentil and kale soup. It just like hits all the boxes. It is like nourishing, it is hearty, it's loaded with vegetables, and every time I see it, I'm just like, oh yeah, this is it. So I'm going to show you how I made it, and you're just based on things that you probably have at home. And I mean, you're just going to absolutely love it. So let's take a look and see how it's made. The first thing I'm doing here is showing you some of the fresh produce I cut up. We've got 1 large onion all diced up. I've got 2 carrots. For soups, I like to have my carrots in little slices. I just think they're fun that way. When you're creating the mirepoix, which is the carrots, the onion, and the celery, you can just dice up the carrots too, but I just like them to be sliced up. I've also got 3 celery stalks all diced up here too. And then you can see on the right over there, I've got about 4 cloves of garlic all diced up. After that, I'm preparing the kale. I've got the Lacento kale, Lacinato kale. I don't know what the hell to call it, but it's the dinosaur kale. That's what I call it. And I've already washed it and deveined it. And here I'm just like kind of rolling it up and slicing it into little ribbons. So I don't really want it chopped into little diced pieces, but I don't want it, you know, as big as it is. So I'm just kind of making ribbons out of it. And you do that just by kind of rolling them up in a kind of a cigar thing and then just slicing them. So pretty simple. And that's all I'm doing here. This is about, I use 2 bunches of kale. You really don't need more than 1 bunch or 2 cups. Now I'm getting started with the Instant Pot. I set my Instant Pot to saute, and here I'm just gonna add a little bit of water to it because, you know, we're an oil-free channel. So I don't cook with oil anymore. I haven't in years. So I put a little water in and I give it a moment to come up to steam. Once it comes up to steam, it's literally like a minute. I'm gonna start dumping in my veggies. I'm gonna put everything except for the garlic in. So I'm gonna put the mirepoix in, the carrots, the celery, and the onion. If you've never heard of mirepoix, that's a reference to the soup base of every soup. The carrots, the onions, and the celery is the main base for just about every soup, and it's called mirepoix. Don't ask me how to spell it, I have no idea. Which on this channel also translates to, we fancy. You could add a little salt like I'm doing here just to sweat the veggies, but you don't have to. If you're doing a low salt diet, then just leave it out. You can see here the veggies are starting to steam. This is what we want. Remember, we're not cooking with oil, so I'm just gonna move them around, and if I have to add a little bit more water, then that's what I'll do. Right now, I don't need it, they're doing well, but you can absolutely add a little bit if you need to. Just stay after it, don't let it stick. Once the saute is done and everything's softened, I can turn off my Instant Pot and start adding my other ingredients. And that starts with 2 cups of brown lentils. They're sticking to the colander because I rinsed them off in the sink. I don't do, you know, unwashed, dry brown lentils of any kind. Who knows where they came from? I put them in the colander and strain them in the sink and wash them all out. So these are dry lentils, but they're wet. Next, it's a can of diced tomatoes, a 14-ounce can of diced tomatoes. This is just the Costco ones. After that, I'm putting in 3 tablespoons of tomato paste. This is a measure of 1.5 tablespoons right here. So it's 2 of these. Look at that, your brain just got smarter with some math. Now it's 2 teaspoons of oregano. So I'm dumping that in there. Next, it's 1 teaspoon of dried basil. I'm just using the one from Sprouts. And now it's a teaspoon of cumin. After that, I'm adding 1 teaspoon of ground coriander. And now I'm adding my broth. Here's what I did. I put in, you need 7 cups of vegetable broth here. I used 3 teaspoons of Better Than Bouillon in 7 cups of water. Normally it's 1 teaspoon per cup of water, so for 7 cups of broth, you would use 7 teaspoons of Better Than Bouillon. But I don't want that much salt. And now I'm gonna dump in my kale on top. There's way too much kale, like I admit, it shouldn't look like an Instant Pot kale recipe, but Tim bought so much kale and I wanted to use it all. I hate throwing anything out. Here I'm just grabbing my spoon and giving this a little mixy. Oh man, you could already tell this is gonna be a good soup when it cooks. Like nothing's cooked yet. Well, I guess the mirepoix is, but the rest of it hasn't. But I mean, look at the colors already. The browns, the oranges, the greens. This is absolutely beautiful. Now I'm adding 2 bay leaves. I'm just gonna kind of put them in there and make sure that, you know, they're under the water, and that's kind of it. No skill here or anything, I'm just putting them in. And now I'm just adding a little cracked pepper in there because I love me some pepper. And then I'm gonna put the cover on the Instant Pot, lock it in place, set it to sealing position, and I'm gonna let this cook on high pressure for 6 minutes. And I'm gonna let it come to a natural release. Once the natural release is done and I know there's no more steam left, I can open the pot. And holy smoke, look at that. All right, you kind of have to get your spoon here and get it all mixed up. But before that, I'm fishing out my bay leaf so I don't forget about that, because I will forget about them and they'll be part of the recipe. There's the other one right there. So I'm gonna grab that one too. And now I can kind of mix this all up. Oh, wow. Look how good that looks. Oh, those brown lentils, amazing. It smells fantastic. This is gonna be a great dish. What a perfect fall meal. I'm just gonna give this a little taste here, and I like to put it in a little kind of ramekin. The ramekin surface area will help cool down the soup. And it is delicious. If you feel like it needs more salt, because we limited the amount of salt we put in from the broth, add more salt now. It's fine. But otherwise, it should be good to go. Mine was right on the money. Let's plate this up. All right, now this recipe makes a lot of soup, and you can eat a quarter of this recipe for about 300 and something calories. Seriously, you can eat a lot of this soup, and I'm going to. This little bowl is gonna come nowhere near holding as much soup as I can eat in this meal. But for now, this is what I'm putting in because it's social media and I want it to look pretty. So that's what we're doing. I'm just ladling this out, and look how good that looks. Oh, the carrots on top, the tomatoes, the kale and the lentils. Look at the coloring, it's so earthy. Absolutely amazing. Oh, wow. I know I say this all the time, but this is the colors of health right here, or at least the colors of fall health, right? All right, let's put a little spoon in here, and let's dig in. Soup's on, baby. Oh man, this is just quite the dish on a fall day. A good soup when it's cold. I mean, I know to you it's not cold, but to me it is cold. A good soup when it's cold just is everything to me. Take a look at this. Oh man, check that out. Oh, this is so good. Look at all those chunky vegetables there. You can see the carrot, you can see a lot of kale. You can see all of the lentils in there. Got some tomatoes there. This looks fantastic. Oh God, it smells so good too. All right, let's give this a shot here. I already know this is good because I already ate some of it, but okay. Now, there's a lot more kale in here than you need to put in here. But like, Tim bought 2 bunches of kale. I put the 1 bunch in, which is really what should have been in. But what do I do with the other bunch? It's the weekend. If I don't make it right now, it's going in the trash by next weekend because that's when I'll get to it again. So I just threw it in. You do you, but I can't have too much kale, right? Mmm. Oh man. Ooh. So good. Mmm. This is absolutely delicious. Holy smoke. You know, most of my lentil dishes, like soups or Ethiopian lentils and all that, it's all red lentils because red lentils cook really fast and they mash up. They kind of just become, I don't know, like mushy. And that really works in all of my recipes, but the brown lentils, just the way they hold their texture, they're girthy. And that's kind of what they are. So good. I just love the color of this. This is such a great fall soup. I mean, it kind of gives you everything that you need to get out there and take on the world. Holy smoke. Oh, this is delicious. I'm loving this. Let's get to the calorie information. I'll show you what it's all about. All right, let's start with the actual ingredients. The bulk of the calories from this soup come from the lentils. The lentils at I put in 280 grams, which is about 2 cups. It is 2 cups. And that gave me 880 calories. That's all. That's the bulk of the calories. Like, there is no source of calories in this soup other than that brings, so many calories in. So that's all of the ingredients we've used. That's the breakdown right there. But you can bring up the calorie content by adding more of these things. The pot was already full. I'm not really sure, I would have needed a bigger Instant Pot if I wanted to add more stuff for this. So if you look at the calories are 307.3 calories for a quarter of the pot. 1 serving. I'm saying this thing makes 4 servings. Those are really big servings. But, it'd be like 2 to 3 big bowls of soup at the Olive Garden or something like that, right? So soup's meant to be an appetizer. That's why it's not really, loaded with calories. So even at a quarter of the recipe, which 1 serving is a quarter of the recipe, it's still not even 400 calories. So I would have this. I'd have a quarter of this, and then have like a cracker with it. Like a big piece of sourdough bread, because I love bread with soup, and that should give you the 400 calories. but the soup alone isn't going to do it. And I can tell you right now, like, it's a lot of food. It's a quarter of this recipe, not a quarter of my serving, a quarter of the entire pot is a lot of food. So I don't know that I could even push all that down in one shot. And if you look at the macros right here, you can see 307 calories for this quarter of the recipe, the one serving. We're hitting the fiber, okay, and I say this all the time, that's 43% of what the average person needs in fiber, or what I should say, the average person gets on a daily basis in fiber. We are not the average people. This is a very small percentage of my fiber for the day. So that's wrong because the average person is deficient in fiber. So I try not to compare myself to the average person, at least in fiber. As far as iron, there we are, 82% of our iron right there. That's from the leafy greens, I can tell you that right now. The calcium, not 32% from one meal. Vitamin A, where half of our day is vitamin A right there in this one meal. Vitamin C, 39%, that's great. Folate, 94%, and potassium, 36%. So for one meal, a bowl of soup, because of those lentils and those vegetables and the greens, holy smoke, like, we're really hitting way more than a third of most of the stuff that we need for the day. And that's really nice to see. A smart nutritional choice for sure. All right, that's our video for today. And amazing, and I'm talking about amazing, Instapot, easy Instapot, brown lentil and kale soup. You've got to make this. It's so simple to make, and I promise you, you're gonna love it. This will get you through the holidays, and it'll keep you healthy and on track. It's a perfect option for the starch solution. Hit that like button, show us some love. Click on the subscribe button, click on that bell, and you'll get notified every time we have a new video, usually every Tuesday. Leave a comment below. I mean, are you doing Instapot soups right now? You should be if you're not. Like, it's a no-brainer. Make an Instapot soup on Sunday. Have something to eat all week long. There's your plan. You don't even need to food prep, but depending on how big your family is, have a soup ready to eat all week long. I'm taking this to work this week, and it's going to be part of my week of lunches video. I mean, I can't pass this up. This is too good. Plus, all the other people around me are going to be like, ooh, what you eating? Oh, did you bring any extra? Because you know how that goes. All right, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.